designed to help change perception from the negative to positive. The minister says our state governors, they have the capacity to assist in ensuring that the campaign sinks to the desired impact to be achieved. He, however, solicits for free airtime on the various state radio and television stations for jingles to be aired. Nigeria will implement its nationally determined contribution with a sovereign green bond that will be launched in the first quarter of 2017. This fund project targeted at reducing emissions towards a greener economy. This was in President Buhari's message at a side event during the Africa Day at the United Nations Climate Talks in Marrakesh, Morocco. It had as its theme, moving from commitment to action with the NDC environment. Correspondent Aisha Bello Mustafa reports.
President Buhari's message was read by the Minister of Environment, Amina Mohammed.
We are developing sectoral plans for the 5 main economic sectors in Nigeria, namely power, oil and gas, agriculture, transport and industries. We are ensuring full ownership of and commitment to the NDC by the relevant ministries, departments and agencies. This multi-sectoral collaboration is crucial to delivering results on the pledges and essential to mobilizing international support for our effort.
The federal government will also mobilize private sector partnership in addition to support from development partners, just as the 2017 budget will be a green budget to reflect Nigeria's efforts to realizing the nationally determined contributions. Nigeria also presented highlights of work on renewable energy in the country.
Our priorities are ensuring energy access, energy security, and developing renewable resources for energy. We are strengthening the policy and regulatory base. In this regard, we have developed the Sustainable Energy for All Action Agenda and the National Renewable Energy Action Plan, among other policies. The policies contained in our Vision 30-30-30 aim to increase on-grid power capacity from the current level of about 5 gigawatts to 30 gigawatts by 2030. Our expectation is at least 30% of this capacity will come from renewable energy.
The issuance of green bonds is seen as an innovative means and alternative way of raising climate finance both locally and internationally. Aisha Bello Mustafa, NTA News.
And still from Marrakesh, after initially paying 6 million euros, France has pledged another 2 billion euros in support of the Africa Renewable Energy Initiative, which seeks to scale up and harness the continent's huge potential in renewable energy sources. President African Development Bank Akinwumi Adesina said this during the African Day at the United Nations Climate Talks in Marrakesh, Morocco. Again, environment correspondent Aisha Bello Mustafa reports that the African Day was hosted by Nigeria in collaboration with the African Union Commission.
The Renewable Energy Initiative was launched at COP21 in December last year. It seeks to achieve at least 10 gigawatts of new and additional renewable energy generation capacity by 2020 and at least 300 gigawatts by 2030. Germany has also committed to provide 2 million euros to the project.
The African Development Bank has committed itself to invest $12 billion over the next 5 years in support of accelerating electricity supply in Africa and to leverage between $45 and $50 billion from the private sector. The bank will work with the African Union and other partners to fast-track the Africa we want. And certainly the Africa we want must be an Africa that's not in the dark.
We believe that the African Renewable Energy Initiative and its African ownership can play a vital role in building capacity in Africa to develop a modern, reliable energy system.
Mr. Adesina emphasized that Africa must have universal access to electricity within 10 years. That is why the African Development Bank is highly supportive of the Africa Renewable Energy Initiative. It will enable Africa to move quickly to adopt modern distributed energy systems that are renewable, smarter, and able to reach people without access to modern energy services.
And back home, the Presidential Committee for the Northeast Initiative is to partner African Development Bank for sustainable peace and development of the region. This came to the fore at a meeting in Abuja between the two organizations to fine-tune modalities for the collaboration. Joseph Rock reports.
With the return of relative peace and stability in the region, rehabilitation, rebuilding and provision of basic amenities for the people is now the challenge. However, working with the presidential blueprints designed to address the humanitarian needs, security, health, education and economic developments of the area points to a desired direction. While the African Development Bank has indicated its readiness to assist, the Presidential Committee for the Northeast says the gesture will go a long way to actualize the concrete arrangements made by the government.
Yes, we are finalizing our program, and this program will be presented to our board at the end of December, and hopefully at the end of the year we'll launch, at the first quarter next year, we'll launch all these activities.
What we have done today is to interface with the African Development Bank to understand the nature of the facilities they are offering to the states, and also be able to help guide, coordinate those monies into the projects that the states have sequenced and prioritized as their priorities.
African Development Bank is proposing $150 million assistance for the region after concluding internal protocol. Joseph Orok, NTA News.
Now, full implementation of the Freedom of Information Act is achievable, and the Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation is committed to that. This is the message of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Winifred Oyoita, at a two-day roundtable with FOI officers of federal ministries, departments and agencies holding in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf reports.
The two-day round table with FOI officers of federal ministries, departments and agencies, with the team increasing MDA's compliance with Nigeria's FOI Act, is also looking at the implications of the Act on the nation's anti-graft war. 5 years after the enactment of the Freedom of Information Act, the level of compliance, according to statistics from the Federal Ministry of Justice, remains abysmally low after sampling over 800 MDAs.
We must enforce and enhance this law because it will help us. The whole world now is transparency, accountability, probity. In China, in every part of the world, if you are looking for any support, they must look at what is your level of transparency, accountability, and probity.
Head of the Civil Service of the Federation in a message to the event says, with Nigeria now a signatory to the Global Open Governance Partnership, OGP, a mutual relationship between the government and the governed has made the Freedom of Information Act implementation an imperative.
The people being the repository of power, and those that are in power are holding in trust on behalf of the citizen. So why can't we relate with the people we are representing? If I may ask, what are we hiding from the people?
Experts believe that the time for a more vibrant FOI regime in Nigeria is now.
Public information should be in the public space. You don't wait for people to come begging you to get information that ordinarily should belong to the people. And that's what we're saying.
There is no way you can effectively fight corruption without entrenching transparency and accountability. And one of the strongest tools for doing this or realizing this is the Freedom of Information Act.
They unanimously expressed the need for genuine collaboration amongst relevant organs of government to make government's change agenda a reality. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Let's join Vera in our Lagos Network Center as she brings us details on ECOWAS meeting on maritime and other reports from that zone. Hello, Vera. It's over to you.
Good to see you. Good evening and welcome to Lagos. A standing committee of ECOWAS Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has met in Lagos to develop an intervention mechanism for curbing maritime insecurity and illegalities in the region. Annie Daniels reports that the meeting gave participants insight into maritime crimes.
The maritime domain, no doubt, has vast potential for the economies of both coastal and landlocked ECOWAS member states. This is because of enormous oil reserves and the scale of commercial activities that go on in the region. This, however, has led to increase in maritime illegalities like piracy, smuggling and trafficking. Mindful of the impacts on the social and economic life of countries in the region, the West African countries adopted the ECOWAS Integrated Maritime Strategy. It is expected to give insight into the extent of maritime security the region is grappling with and proffer solutions on how best to tackle the challenges.
It's a crucial problem all over the world these days. The problem of cross-border banditry and at sea.
And our piracy here, they are becoming so internationalized. Internationalized in the sense that they are not operating only in our territorial waters.
It adds to cost of doing business, and most importantly, it scares away investors.
Participants and maritime experts suggest the way out.
We are pushing for the early passage of an anti-piracy bill before the National Assembly. So we need a legal framework to fight pirates.
Some of the acts in the National Assembly that is passed into law cannot work if it is not removed under the residue in the Nigerian Constitution.
The meeting has as its theme maritime security and the fight against piracy, the role of ECOWAS Parliament in the implementation of integrated maritime strategy. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
Issues of international security and how to curb organized transitional crime dominated discussions at the just concluded 85th Interpol General Assembly meeting held in Bali, Indonesia. Nigeria's Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, who was part of the meeting, outlined some of the challenges posed by systemic corruption in the fight against corruption and transitional crime in Nigeria.
International policing was the theme of the 85th Interpol General Assembly. Top on the discussion was the disturbing trend of cybercrime, corruption, drug-related offenses, terrorism, among other issues. The Assembly concluded cooperation agreements with several organizations to enhance the global response to transnational crime while encouraging information exchange and joint activities. A key aspect of the agreement is to develop interoperability between respective police communications systems in order to exchange critical crime-related information. Inspector General of Police Ibrahim Idris, who is also an international police reforms resource person, commended the present administration's effort in the war against corruption in Nigeria. The IGP said Nigeria will continue to collaborate with member countries to tackle transnational crime and terrorism.
We've been collaborating. In fact, I think about 2 weeks back, the chief of police of Rwanda called me that somebody, I think, was in their country for 1 week in Nigeria. He came back and he was arrested at the airport here. And we assisted them. He sent his team here and we assisted them in investigation. So this collaboration is ongoing. In fact, that's the essence of Interpol. How the whole world can coordinate, to tackle some of these crimes that, covers more than one country.
The Chinese Deputy Minister of Security was elected the president of Interpol following the expiration of the tenure of the incumbent president. The next Interpol General meeting will hold in China in 2017.
The need for a sustainable and achievable legal framework for regulatory agencies in the area of food and crop production for the country has been emphasized. The leadership of the Nigerian Academy of Science made the emphasis at a roundtable on genetically modified organisms in Nigeria. Lynn Leneke has details.
Genetically modified organisms are modern biotechnology, an initiative that involves the use of molecular tools to transfer one or more genes from a related species to another in order to obtain new one with specific benefits. It allows the insertion of new useful genes or the removal of unwanted gene in living organisms to develop beneficial products. They are related to crops, animals, and foods. GMOs started in the early 70s when advanced countries developed such products for commercial purposes.
From the early origins of agriculture, man has been selecting crops and animals. Man has been crossing hybridization to produce new varieties.
The President, Nigerian Academy of Science, Professor Oyewole Tomorin, says GMOs, through modern biotechnology, have been able to develop high yields that can survive harsh conditions with little or no evidence of dangerous effect on both humans, animals, and the environment.
What about food? What is the long-term effect? What do we know? Unfortunately, there's no way we can do experiments because we are saying we want to know what happens in X number of years. The animal may have died long before that time. So we are protecting the future.
The Academy, however, points out that lack of evidence on threats to health by genetically modified organisms does not in any way stop the products from going through import regulations in Nigeria. In Lagos, Lane Lenake, NTA News.
You're still on to NTA Nationwide News, and I hand you over to Olajide in Abuja for more reports. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Vera. And moving on now, the House of Representatives Committee on Works has expressed satisfaction with the progress of road construction at the Federal Highway in Kano State. Chairman of the committee, Toby Okechukwu, said this during an oversight visit to Kano Maiduguri Section 1. Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports.
The contract for the dualization of Kano Maiduguri Road was awarded in September 2006 at the cost of more than 37 billion naira with a completion period of 40 months. Inadequate cash flow resulted in the extension of the completion period. At present, funds had been released to complete the project. It is against this background that the House Committee on Works were in Kano to inspect the project.
Oversight activities is driven by technology, and it's self-evident from the test that has been done both on the concrete and the asphalt base that is up to specification. So from what we've done, the test is reading good. What we want is that they should speed up, because whatever we experience here is going to be fundamental to the attention we pay during appropriation.
The House Committee also inspected the 26.6 kilometer Kano Western Bypass, where they expressed satisfaction with the level of work done so far.
I'm impressed with what we're seeing. We have also asked them the level of delivery they will do, and they promised that they're at kilometer 4 now, and by end of March they will be up to kilometer 9.
Representative of the contracting firm assured the committee of timely completion of the project by March 2017. The committee had earlier visited 74.1 kilometer Kano-Katsina dual carriageway, which is under construction. From Kano, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
Governor Mohammed Abubakar of Bauchi State has threatened to revoke one of the road construction contract awarded early this year due to the snail speed of the project. Correspondent Abbas Mekano reports that the governor made the threat while on inspection visit to the 3 different road projects in the state capital.
Madam road construction was among the first contracts awarded by MA-led administration in March this year, but almost 9 months later, the work has not reached any appreciable level. During the unscheduled visit to the site of the project by the governor, no official or representative of the Kalu construction company that are handling the work on the site, and the governor was not happy with what he saw on ground regarding the project.
This is an ongoing contract. I should have seen some activity going on. So you better warn the contractor. If within a week he has not come and resume action here, I will revoke the contract. There's no doubt about it.
At the 3.6 kilometer road construction along Kano Road, the governor commended the company for mobilizing to the site. He said the road, which is leading to ATBU permanent site along Kano Road, will later be extended to Nasarawa village and terminated at Maiduguri Road around Gidanwaya village. The governor has also commissioned a mechanized borehole provided by the Alsar Engineering Limited construction company handling the project as part of its corporate social responsibilities to the communities. Briefing the governor, the site engineer of the company, Mr. Alex Ali, said they have fully mobilized to site and assured that the work will be completed before the stipulated time. The governor and his entourage also inspected the 5-kilometer dualization of Kano Road project, which has already commenced by Rockbridge Construction Company. Site engineer Mr. Rooney, who received the governor, assured of quality work and will be completed as scheduled. In Bauchi, Abbas Mekano, NTA News.
Residents of some communities in Cross River State have appealed to the federal government over the deplorable state of most roads, which they say could be a setback to efforts in using agriculture as a catalyst for economic growth. Oba Hyacinth tells us more.
An assessment of the road situation across the state leave one to wonder how far the laudable agricultural program and policies of government can be achieved. The pathetic condition of road network have made it an uphill task for commuters accessing or departing the state, hence hindering economic activity for the state and making particularly agriculture non-attractive for farmers. Federal roads such as Vandikia Ogonja Road, Ikom Obubra Calabar Road, Calabar Itu Road are in their deplorable state, while others in Trombi and Transi categories like Yalaunkum, Ofumbonga or Chonrin Road in Ubura, Yaewanihem Road in Yala local government, Isobende in Karasi Road in Boki LGA with high density of agricultural products like cocoa, oil palm, cassava, yam, rice are in need of attention while farmers are appealing for government to ameliorate their suffering.
Road is so important to every community because it helps to carry a lot of goods to the outside world.
If I don't feel good, I feel bad for my mind. I know they enjoy all this road, kind of road where they follow.
The foodstuff we produce, we cannot market them because there is no road.
The road have damaged our car all one by one. In fact, when we bought shock absorber now, we finish na because of the road.
Although there have been series of interventions to check this condition, but the general feeling among the people, particularly those affected by severe cases, is that this effort should be increased, and where there is none, there should be effort to address it, particularly now that the government is diversifying its economy towards agriculture. In Ogoja, Cross River State, Oba Hyacinth.
Issues surrounding the recent fuel scarcity in Akwa Ibom State arising from the face-off between the Tanker Drivers Association and the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps have been resolved. Ididiong Iba reports that most filling stations around the state are now dispensing the product of government-approved pump price of 145 naira per litre.
Since 2015, when the federal government announced the removal of subsidy in the price of fuel, the scarcity and incessant increase in the price of the commodity have been on a decrease. However, about a week ago, users of fuel in Akwa Ibom State were held hostage by marketers who dispensed the product at between 170 and 200 naira as against the federal government-approved pump price of 145 naira. This situation, according to the marketers, was as a result of an alleged face-off between officers and men of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps and the Tanker Drivers Union, which affected supply to the states. All seems to be well now, as there is normalcy in the price and consumers are the happier, arising from an intervention meeting between the state government and relevant stakeholders. Speaking to NTA News, some motorists and residents say they are relieved that the situation has abated, as it had affected their socio-economic activities while it persisted. They, however, appealed that when situations like this occur, relevant stakeholders should wade in immediately in the interest of the masses.
I'm happy because the price is down, because before keke, if we wanted to enter keke would be high in price.
We have been suffering for long, for more than a week now, so I think it's subsiding.
Everything is coming down to normal.
In Uyo, Edidiong Iba, NTA News.
Police force tasked on human rights rule will now hook up with our Marketing Network Center for details of these and other reports with Susan. Susan, it's over to you.
Good evening and welcome to Makudi. Officers and men of the Nigeria Police Force have been tasked to adhere strictly to human rights rules in the course of their operation in line with global standards. This was at a sensitization workshop on human rights organized for the Benue State Police Command under the auspices of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime for the Nigerian government. Charles Abba reports.
The Nigeria Police has continued to embark on training and retraining of its personnel in order to effectively tackle the various security challenges in the country. It is in furtherance of this training that the project Support to the Justice Sector in Nigeria, implemented by United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, has organized a 5-day workshop for divisional police officers and crime officers of the Benue State Police Command. The workshop, which was centered on application of human rights rules by the police in their operations, covered promoting alternatives to violence, human rights, civil disorders and terrorism, human rights and the police, rights of persons under detention and prevention of torture, and others. Representative of the Inspector General of Police, AIG Zone 4, Oshodi Glover, who described the training as timely, urged the trainees to be committed to the program and operate accordingly.
We should observe and respect the fundamental rights of citizens, be it a suspect or a complainant. We have the duty to protect the rights of every citizen.
Deputy Project Coordinator, UNODC, Valeria Ann Thailandia, the team leader, Security and Justice, Prisoners Rehabilitation and Welfare Action, Ogechi Ogu, and others expressed optimism that the training will impact positively on the participants.
We at this end have rights to conduct ourselves in the course of doing our job. Also, the person you are giving that service also requires some level of leverage.
The Human Rights Sensitization Workshop for the Nigeria Police Force is to metamorphose into train-the-trainees exercise across the country. In Makudi, Charles Abba, NTA News.
Reconstruction work on the damaged portion of the road leading to Gembu on the Mambila Plateau in Taraba State, which was recently washed up by landslide, has reached advanced stage. Joseph Otsen, who visited the area, reports that the state government took the urgent measures for the safety of lives of motorists plying the routes.
Village, the resident says, shows signs about 5 years ago through gully erosion. And when the heavy landslide suddenly consumed almost one lane of the road, they had to quickly keep warning signs to save lives and reported to the local government authority for necessary action. The state government has since swung into action and awarded a contract for the reconstruction of the affected portion of the road. And the work expected to be completed within 2 months is at about 70% completion. It is a slide that the site engineer here tells me affected about 100 meters of the road. Apart from sand filling and reconstructing the road, he says they are constructing what he called a bench slope that will mitigate further slide. The slope being constructed is to allow free flow of water down the valley, while its base will be stuck with rocks to prevent water from surging to the road. The site engineer Nuruddin Zaura attributed the incident to the presence of Seji Dam constructed in the area.
The moisture is too much, so this water carry all this fine one from down, no have any resistance in sand, so all this material in sand.
Gembu Road, which is the only road to the Mambila Plateau, is one of the federal government roads the state has engaged in construction and rehabilitation. It says it has spent about 2 billion naira so far on federal roads. From Gembu, Joseph Uten, NTA News.
That does it from Makudi. It's back to Olajide in Abuja for more on NTA Nationwide.
Thank you, Suzanne. And moving on now, World Bank has expressed satisfaction over the utilization of funds under its state's education program investment project, SEPIP, in Bauchi State. An official of the bank in Nigeria, Mr. Tunde Adekola, made the remark while inspecting some benefiting schools from the scheme in the state. Bature Bala Malum Fashi completes the report.
The schools inspected are Government Day Secondary School Bakari Duku, Government Girls Secondary School Liman Katagum, and Government Girls College Nabardo. Inspecting the schools, Mr. Tunde Adekola said the visit is to ensure that the funds are used according to the bank's guidelines. He commended Bauchi State Government for its commitment to the education sector and charged other stakeholders to contribute their quota towards improving the standard of education in the state. Mr. Tunde reaffirmed the commitment of the bank to assist in areas that would add value to the state government initiative in the education sector.
If you look at it, if you want to bring more children to school, you want to make sure they are in school, and not only they stay in school, but to make sure they learn. The part of the effort is to provide the enabling environment to be able to do this.
In his remark, Permanent Secretary of the State Ministry of Education, Alhaji Nasir Yalwa, reaffirmed the resolve of the state government to accord education the priority it deserves, adding that it is against this background that 20% of this year's budget was allocated to the sector. Principals of the school commended World Bank for the intervention, which they said contributed in improving conditions of learning in their schools. Highlight of the visit was interactive session between the World Bank officials and teachers of the schools visited. In Bauchi, Batura Bala Malampashi, NTA News.
The National Youth Service Corps NYSC says it is prepared to mobilize all qualified from the 2016 Batch B service year. Director General Brigadier General Sulaiman Kazaure said these at a media parley in Abuja. Olanika Ojo reports that the NYSC media parley had in attendance media bureau chiefs and news editors.
Brigadier General Kazaure says, as a budget-dependent organization, the scope of NYSC activities is facing financial constraints, like every other government agency in the present recession. Director General NYSC says that the NYSC has received a total of 170,000 corps members so far.
From our budgetary allocation, we can conveniently cater for 86,000 corps members. But already the federal government directed us to mobilize all the eligible corps members. So we are going to mobilize all the eligible corps members.
In the 2016 budget, provision was made for the mobilization of a total of 210,000 youth corps members. However, the figure for both 2016 Batch A and Batch B has more than doubled the original projection. He explained that the scheme has introduced a Stream 2 orientation camp nationwide for the 2016 Batch B, which is planned for January 2017. While lamenting that most states and local governments do not live up to their responsibilities in the erroneous belief that NYSC is a project of the federal government alone, Brigadier General Sule Kazaure added that the scheme has introduced NYSC skills acquisition and NYSC ventures in order to raise revenue for the scheme.
So far, over 600,000 corps members have been trained, and nearly 5,000 of them have established their own businesses.
The Director General commended youth corps members for their role in the Edo gubernatorial election, noting that the corps members are set to perform a similar feat in the next governorship election in Ondo State. In Abuja, Olainka Ojo, NTA News.
Another set of 100 youth drawn across the 25 local government areas of Niger State have been empowered following the conclusion of 2 weeks intensive training on agricultural enterprise in Kontagura. The program, which is at the instance of Niger State Fadama Coordination Office, is aimed at promoting self-reliance, particularly at grassroots levels. Mukhtar Abubakar reports.
The third National Fadama Development Project additional financing is a poverty alleviation program aimed at increasing the income of rural land and water resource users in a sustainable basis. The Fadama 3 additional financing is focused on women and unemployed youths, as the development partner, federal and state governments carefully considered and created a window of job creation in the program.
I think it's a success story as far as I'm concerned. We want them to be the vanguard of youth.
In 1 month's time, we're going to monitor them to see what they've done with the grant given to them.
The graduation ceremony featured presentation of 100,000 naira check to each of the graduates as a take-off grant and launching of processed peppered smoked fish.
Fadama should expect me with at least 50 chickens boiler.
The money they give us, I am anticipating that in the next 6 months I should be able to double it.
The first and second phases.
Aware of this, and we are prepared to exploit it to the fullest.
What's your name, my dear?
Her name is Jabel.
Chantel. I love taking my selfies.
I have 2 selfie sticks. I'll give you one and I'll make use of one.
Are you serious?
So why don't you hop into my car and go to my hotel room and
I wasn't thinking straight.
He was thinking 6 years. Selfie stick. This week's episode of Professor John Boone.
That keeps getting better with age. This is the new driver of the digital switch over train. Get to know him more in TV Guide. And now, on our cover is one of Nigeria's finest comic actors, Afiz Oyetoro, aka Saka. Peep into his world and you will see how he is putting from glory to glory. The change agenda of President Muhammadu Buhari, we did an assessment so far. All our refreshing columns and incisive features are a collector's item and research material. TV Guide, available on your newsstand and in all NTA stations nationwide. Also in our embassies in United Kingdom, USA, China, Ghana and Egypt. TV Guide, grab a copy and give one to a friend. TV Guide, still your indispensable companion.
NTA Properties Investment Company Limited, a subsidiary of the Nigerian Television Authority, specializes in creating comfort in all areas of life, such as real estate investments, that is, land, houses, and office spaces, mast leasing, savings and loan scheme, household items and car loans, and so much more. Other informations and entertainment services include Property in Style, a TV program that airs on the network service of the NTA, and also Property Connect, a nationwide magazine. Our priority is to bridge poverty gaps and sustain quality welfare of our clients. Partner with us and watch us help you grow. Pay us a visit today at the NTA headquarters permanent site, Area 11 Gariki, Abuja, or our Lagos office at number 15 Awolowo Road, Ikoyi, Lagos. For more information, visit our website on www.ntaproperties.com.ng, or you can email us on ntapeak2000@yahoo.com. Call us on 080-2316-3474 or 080-6939-5185 or 070-3189-0555. NTA Properties Investment Company Limited. The much needed help at your doorstep.
Hear the call of change. Stand up, Nigeria. Change is here and it's going to stay. Change begins with you. Oh yeah, make we go. Go to so let the change begin from within. Look at you, Ogerola. Change begins with you and me.
Process of instant rehabilitation of some of the officers, ensuring that we create a perimeter fencing. We have to create this as an enclave, provide security, provide maintenance, and all the facilities required so that the civil servants can work in a healthy, safe, and efficient environment. We need a total overhaul, not only cleaning, the entire process.
Governor Basaki had earlier sworn in the Secretary to the State Government, Mr. Usao John Ogie. Other appointments include Chief of Staff, Mr. Taiwo Akireli, and Chief Press Secretary, John Mayaki. On his way to the Benin Technical College, the governor intervened in the traffic situation on the Dawson intersection on Mission Road.
Take his name and number.
At the college, he frowned at the state of the school, promising to give the institution a facelift. In Benin, Agatha Egwarojo, NTA News.
Delta State government says it will remain proactive in providing a conducive environment for the private sector to participate in the development of infrastructure and its economy. Governor Ifeanyi Okowa gave this assurance during the groundbreaking ceremony of a multi-million naira ultra-modern mechanic village in Asaba. Ifoma Okafo completes the report.
Achieving transformed environment
through urban renewal is one of the cardinal objectives of the smart agenda of Governor Fanyokoa's administration. With the building of the mechanic village, the automobile mechanics and engineers will have a permanent site where they can repair their automobiles with the latest state-of-the-art technologies and equipment in a most convenient and serene environment. Governor Fanyokoa says the project will be modeled as a one-stop shop that will build capacities of youths through trainings and skill acquisitions.
We are ready to partner with all well-meaning private sector investors in such a manner that our people will benefit from that partnership.
The project, when completed, will cater for all categories of mechanics and ancillary services like banks, central parks, clinics, restaurants, and business centers. In Asaba, Ifoma Okafo, NTA News.
Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, has charged the officers and ratings of the Central Naval Command not to relent in the fight against criminals in the Niger Delta region. He was speaking during his visit to the Naval Logistics Command, Ogara, and the Naval Engineering College, Sapele, both in Delta State. Steve Luna Wonkulo reports.
Naval Staff Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, who commended the officers and ratings of both commands for the satisfactory performance after closed-door section and inspection tour of facilities within the commands, urged them to maintain peace in the region.
Inspection of units, bases, and establishments, to appraise and evaluate their state of readiness, operationally, administratively, logistically, and otherwise.
The naval chief was received on arrival at the Logistics Command, Ogara, and the Navy Engineering College, supplied by the officers of the Central Naval Command, after he inspected the guard of honors mounted by the quarter guards of the two commands. Steve Lona Wakolo, NTA News.
And that's it from Benin. Olajide, it's over to you now for the continuation of Nationwide News.
Thank you very much. A report just reaching us now says the nation is working towards reducing cost of production of its crude oil, which is expected to boost the country's foreign exchange earnings. These and some other national issues were presented to the National Economic Council at its meeting, which had just ended at the presidential villa. Here is an excerpt from the briefing.
Other points taken today, a report on the excess crude and proceeds presented by the Honorable
financing to micro, small, and medium industries. When that is done, the micro, small, and medium industries have the capacity of improving the microeconomic stability of the nation.
And this year took on initiative working with the folks in NMPs and the ministry to try and find a sustainable solution for funding JV cash call. We have been able to find that solution. What we've been able to put together has enabled us to shave about 1.7 billion savings for the federal government on the 6.8 that was previously owed. So we're going to be owing only 5.1 as opposed to 6.8. Now the 5.1, however, will be paid over a period of 5 years interest-free, and the barrels to pay those will come from incremental barrels generated by the oil companies, not on the current 2.2 million barrels. In other words, if for any reason we do not meet those thresholds, you will not pay the 5.1. So that's fantastic.
Moving on now, Governor Umahi visited disputed land in Ize. This and more from our Enugu Network Center with Chiagonu as our guide.
Good afternoon, Olajide, and welcome to Enugu. Ebonyi State government has seized over 50 hectares of land to ensure lasting peace in two communities in Izi local government area of the state. Governor David Umahi made the pronouncement during an unscheduled visit to the warring communities. Kingsley Okoro reports that the age-long crisis has claimed lives and property worth millions of naira.
We're sorry about that. Center there having some technical issues. Moving on now. Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, has launched a 3-policy document expected to curb child mortality as a result of preterm births and pneumonia complication among under 5 children in Nigeria. Health correspondent Rashidat Mustafa Olagunju reports that it was at the 2016 World Prematurity Day set aside by the World Pneumonia Day in Abuja.
Prematurity or preterm birth is the birth of a baby less than 37 weeks after the mother's last monthly period. Diabetes, high blood pressure, smoking, and obesity also increases the risk of giving birth prematurely. Reports has it that globally about 15 million children are born prematurely.
Breastfeeding, vaccination, hand washing with soap and water, as well as low level of exposure to greenhouse gases, are protective against the development of pneumonia.
Development partners also pledge continuous support towards provision of better health for Nigerians. World Prematurity Day is also a platform to provide emotional and psychological support to parents of preterm babies. Rashidat Mustafa Olagunju, NTA News.
Petition for African veterans to get French citizenship gathers more support, and the United Nations warns of mass atrocities in South Sudan. This and more on Global Tidbits with Talatu Ezurike.
The World War II could be history, but for African veterans who fought for France, time to set the records right. In time past, there were complaints of disparity in pensions that was corrected. The interest now is for French citizenship for these African veterans through a petition launch that has gotten more than 40,000 signatures within 5 days. From Gambia, President Yahya Jammeh preaches peaceful campaigns and warned his supporters that violence was like bushfire that can destroy the country. Similarly, the United Nations Chief Ban Ki-moon has warned of the danger of mass killings amid conflict in South Sudan. Also, Iraqi forces have paused their advance into Mosul to retake the city from militants due to poor weather. And a passenger aircraft narrowly avoided a collision with a drone over central London. That is all on Global Tidbits. Talati Ezarike, NTA News.
Before we go, a quick reminder that you can get all our stories and much more when you log on to our website, www.nta.ng. And now, sports updates with Ayodeji Makinde.
57 professional golfers, including 4 Cameroonians, a Senegalese and a Ghanaian, are in contention for the inaugural Nigerian Masters, which teed off Thursday morning at the IBB International Golf and Country Club, Abuja. The ceremonial tee-off was performed by Justice Monica Mensem as the players compete in a match play, playing 72 holes over 4 days.
I think it's a great opportunity for the professionals. You know, Ms. Emeka Okacha, who has a passion for golf, felt distressed when he saw that the professionals, particularly from Africa, were rather being shabbishly, treated.
The 2016 Nigeria Basketball Federation's National Division I League will Friday jump ball at the indoor sports hall of the Abuja National Stadium. 9 teams from the Atlantic Conference and 8 from the Savannah Conference will be competing for 2 slots in the Premier Basketball League next season as part of efforts to promote the development of the sport at the grassroots.
For now, it's only the Premiership that is sponsored for us, and what we try to do is to sell, this lower division.
Undefeated boxer Floyd Mayweather Jr. has dismissed reports he could come out of retirement to fight again. The American, who officially brought the curtain down on his career last year September, has been linked with a box office bout with UFC champion Conor McGregor, as Manny Pacquiao also sparked rumors of a rematch. With sports updates, Ayodeji Makinde, NTA News.
Well, that's it on NTA Nationwide. Many thanks for watching. I am Olajide Bello.